All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode here of Advocacy Prime and CEC as ICEC at the ICEC conference here in Naperville, Illinois at the Marriott. I am having the pleasure of sitting in front of two fine professionals who are employed over at the Olivet Nazarene University. And so first, on my left here, I have Dr. Ruth Reynolds. She has been teaching for she has taught for 35 plus years as a special ed teacher, and particularly in the middle school, which is super cool. Really, primarily focusing on, students with LD, autism, EBD, communication disorders. It's right up my alley. I love that. She started the student CEC at Olivet, which is awesome. That is so cool. And you are a member of ITED, and you're on the board of CEC. Can you, what is that acronym to ITED?
Okay, so actually I'm on the board of ITED, which is a division of CEC. It stands for the Illinois Teacher Education Division. And so it's part of CEC, and we meet with other teacher educators throughout the state. So all the other professors that are doing teacher ed and special ed.
Wow, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. And then I have this fine gentleman on my right here.
Hello.
And this is Dr. Brian Stipp. And he is currently, has his educational doctorate over at the Olivet Nazarene University. And he got his doctorate from Johns Hopkins University.
With an S.
Yes, that is a plural, several Johns. He taught you taught in CPS for 10 years, as well as in the Southwest side, and you have a particular interest into researching the trauma-informed and multicultural education, and I do want to talk to you a little bit about that. But let's go into why we're here. Okay, we're here at the Illinois Council for Exceptional Children conference in Naperville, Illinois, and starting off with you, Dr. Ruth Reynolds, you were able to, and you noted that you are on the board of CEC, and you started your own chapter. Can you go ahead and talk about that a little bit?
Mm-hmm. So when I started at Olivet, there were our special ed teacher ed program was a new program, and we had other professional organizations that our students could be part of, but there wasn't anything affiliated with our major. And so we looked at starting a special education club. And so CEC obviously was the natural thing to do. So I looked online, I checked with CEC, how do we do this? And so I organized our students. And so we got, I think our first year we had maybe 12 or 13 students that were part of our organization. And so now we're in our, third, fourth, fifth year of being a chapter, and we're over 20 members, 20 to 30 members in our student chapters. So we are very involved. Our students are excited about working with people with disabilities. We partner with Gigi's Playhouse, which is in Kankakee area. We partner with some other groups that are around, and so we help out those groups. But we also have started our keynote activity that we do with our students is called Parents' Night Out. And so we offer a night for parents to drop off their kids. And they can be kids
free respite care.
Yeah, free respite care for the evening. So it can be kids with disabilities, or it can be kids without disabilities. And our students put on games, crafts, all those kinds of things, and so the parents have a time to go out and get dinner, go to a movie, sit home, twiddle their thumbs, whatever they want to do without their kids around. And so that's the big thing that our students do throughout the year.
That's really important that you recognize that, because I think that what you're teaching, not only are you alleviating all of that pressure off from the parents and just giving them the much deserved night out, but you're teaching those students from CEC that raising an individual with disabilities is not a walk in the park, but it's also really rewarding and lovely, and it's a gift, and it's cool. So I really appreciate that you're doing that. That's so cool. I mean, do you see like that your kids walk away with just a smile on their face, you know. Yeah, when I mean by your kids, I mean by your
Our
students, your
yeah.
undergrads, yeah.
And our students, you know, we call them our teacher candidates, and so they are, yes, they are very involved. They are excited. Last year was our first parents' night out that they did, and we're planning our next one for November. And so they are so excited about doing that, and then they connect with their field experience teachers, and they let their kids in their classes know about this coming up. And so, yes, they are. It's the high point of the year for them.
That's awesome. That is really cool. You know, and Dr. Stipp, so what is kind of your involvement with the world of CEC and ICEC?
Yeah, before I answer, I just want to say, Dr. Reynolds, that was impressive. I think podcasting is a really
Okay.
This is her first podcast.
This is my natural,
amazing.
huh? Okay, go ahead.
Doing amazing.
So the question is, what's my involvement with CEC?
Yeah.
So yeah, CEC is the national organization for special education. They have been advocating for special ed since before Public Law 94-142. They have been providing resources, providing teaching strategies, advocating in legislations, national and state legislatures. So if you're going to be involved in special education, you've got to be involved with CEC. And so I was, when I was as a classroom teacher, I was a CEC member, and now that I've become a professor, I've been a CEC member every year.
That's incredible, and I think you hit it right on the head. You know, I mean, just being part of an organization is important, but I think that the benefit of choosing CEC is that, you know, CEC's built standards for special education. I mean, we are the special education standard, so why wouldn't, you know, young students and teacher candidates and even and not just young people who are young, but I mean, you know, I mean, if you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, like we see a wide range of people coming through here, and it's amazing because it's just a community of people who are very passionate about the same things, and we also offer a lot of resources to each other. And then there's things like what you guys do at Olivet Nazarene University, like just providing that little respite and or just, you know, the other kind of volunteer activities that you do is what CEC is all about, right? We're all about service. Do you guys have anything to speak to that or anything like that, or like, you know, service or even the standard space or whatever?
Sure. The one thing about working at a university that has a lot of different degrees, and even has several different education degrees, is the difference about teaching special education is it's a roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty sort of profession. You learn it by doing it. And so what we're trying to do with our program is provide as many opportunities as we can for our students to interact and have success and build their own beliefs and their own ability while they're college students. And so this is reflected in the parent night that Dr. Reynolds was talking about. We also have our program offers a large number of clinical placement hours where they're shadowing special ed teachers. Because this is how you learn, and we want our students to come away from our program learning as much, by which we mean having experience as much as they can during those years.
I think what's very advantageous about being Olivet University is that, you know, you have that rural community, you know, which is something that's not really taught a lot in school. It's not focused a lot in, you know, your teacher candidate prep, you know, teacher prep programs, and you know, that's something you kind of got to learn by experiencing, and I think there's a huge benefit for you guys because you also then you have access to, you know, the cities close to Chicago as well. Now, Dr. Reynolds, you're going to say something, and I kind of cut you off there.
No, I was just going to talk about service and our students and giving our students that opportunity to learn through giving to others. And so as teacher candidates, if we can have them learn how to serve others, and hopefully they will carry that over into their professional life, I think that that's a huge benefit. So for them to learn as teacher candidates at the university that teaching is not all about standing in front of their classroom, preparing their lesson plans, making neat activities, whatever, but it's about giving of yourself to the kids that we're working with.
Yeah. And I think that kind of wraps around with like the theme of ICEC and CEC. You know, I mean, being thoughtful and being mindful and also, being there for the number one cause, and that's for, people with disabilities. So that's fantastic. Again, everybody out there, they're check out your local chapter or go onto the CEC website, or even your ICEC, and take the opportunity to understand what we're about and the amazingness and the resources that we have, because we're able to provide teachers and teacher candidates and professors alike, and just this, just civilization with the resources and understanding of how cool our population of people with disabilities are. So I want to kind of dive into some of your, some of your info and, the things that you guys are passionate about. I really loved hearing about, the symposium that you have coming up. But first I want to start off, what is the story of the program at Olivet?
Yeah, sure. So we, there have been special ed teachers in our area, in the Kankakee and Bourbonnais area, advocating that our university start a special ed program for several years. For decades, there have been teachers saying, we need to get a program at Olivet. And eventually, all of that advocacy paid off, and the university sort of acquired the vision of starting this program. And so I was hired in 2013, left Chicago Public Schools. I was hired to launch this program for special ed teacher training program. And so a year into that process, we got ISB approval to start offering classes. Right at that time, we were able to hire a second professor. Dr. Reynolds. Dr. Reynolds came on, and we have been basically taking this dream that these teachers had and making it a reality in our classes, in our field experiences with our CEC student group. We've been putting these plans into place for the last 5 years.
Have you had a sense of where do I start? This is whew. And the thing is, I've heard about this program and I've seen some really good results come out of there in terms of teachers. So looks like that your model is going pretty well. But I mean, at the beginning, when you always start something new, you get a lot of anxiety and a lot of oh my gosh, I'm responsible for these teachers' education,
Well, I think that, I came on a year after Brian was there, and so Dr. Stipp had this, he was part of the vision. He was working with the Illinois State Board of Ed. He was working to get all of those nuts and pieces in place. Then I came on to help get it going at the university and to get the classes started, and so it's been such a wonderful journey to see the birth of this major, and to see students that began at Olivet because they heard that maybe there would be a special ed teacher ed program, and so they decided to go into elementary ed because that's all there was, and then they changed their major when we did. And so when we started with those first few majors and graduated them, and then all of our majors in the very first graduating class stayed in the area, and they are teachers in the Kankakee area. Wow. And so awesome. to have Christian special ed teachers in the field is a huge, I see that as a huge impact in our field. So that's where I see the benefit of what we're doing.
Yeah. It's just kind of developing a foundation for these students to work from and have the foundation of, this is what I want to practice, and these are my beliefs, and this is what I really want to be as the artist and the teacher that I am. That's really cool. Wow, that's a wonderful story. And now I also want to hear the story on the symposium. And Dr. Reynolds, if you wouldn't mind just pushing this a little bit closer to your mic there.
Like that?
Yeah.
Does that sound better? No?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
Better? Okay.
And so, talk to me about, the story of the symposium, and then I want to kind of, go and talk about the goals of the symposium.
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, there was a family that had ties to Olivet. that heard about our special ed teacher training program, and they approached our university and said, how can we help? How can we partner with what you're doing? And when we heard about that, we sat down and said, what are some ways that we can go beyond helping our own teacher candidates and actually influence the world of special education outside of our university? So for the first few years of our program, we did a lot of receiving from the teachers in our area. We placed our students with teachers for field placement. We were also wanting to give. We were wanting to give to our community. And so one of the ideas we came up with is developing a gathering for special education teachers to come together and do the things that a lot of times we don't have time to do as special ed teachers.
Yeah.
Sit down and think about, what does our work mean? Why am I doing this?
Wow, that is so true.
What's my personal vision? And also to hear the visions of others. So we established 3 goals at the outset. We weren't really exactly sure what this day would look like, but we established 3 goals. We wanted to create a day where people could share ideas. We wanted to create a day where people could vision cast and vision catch. So to think about what's the vision behind this and to hear about that as well. And we also wanted a real practical day where teachers could troubleshoot and problem solve. Anybody who's taught in special education for more than a day knows that you don't go into special education prepared. And so on day 2, you're already solving the problems that have come up on day 1. And how valuable is it when teachers can sit around together and talk about the problems that they're dealing with and to troubleshoot together? So those are the three ideas: idea sharing, vision casting, and vision catching, and problem solving and troubleshooting. Those are the 3 visions for the day. And then once we had that established, then we really got into the nuts and bolts and the actual activities that we would do for a symposium. Our first symposium was offered 3 weeks ago. So it was offered on October 11th, 2019. We planned it for just about that full 2 years, and we had a wide variety of events. One of the big things about planning the day is we were able to invite 4 excellent special education teachers in our area to sit down together and to think through how can we get the most out of this event? How can we design this day that would be the most engaging, and how can we best reach our goals? So we had a full agenda.
I wish you were at every institute day. It's pretty relatable for special ed teachers.
Well, I think there's something about the idea that teachers have a lot of good ideas, and not that they have all of them. The teachers have a lot of good ideas, and part of what we want to do is empower teachers to think, I've got some resources on my own. I should be a part of the conversation of sharing information, not only receiving information. So we had, if I can just kind of walk through some of the things that we did.
Yeah.
We had one session. This actually came at the recommendation of one of our local schools. We had a session that we called Curricular Conversations, where teachers sat around with other teachers in our counties, 2 counties in our area, Kankakee and Iroquois County. They sat around with other local special ed teachers and who were teaching the same in the same setting. So self-contained teachers with self-contained teachers, inclusion teachers with inclusion teachers, same setting.
That is so cool.
The same age levels, and they talked about the curriculum they're using.
Whoa!
And they just basically asked open-ended questions about, let's say, take your reading curriculum. What's the curriculum you're using? Describe it. Share that with your colleagues. And then, what are the adaptations? What are the accommodations you're making to that curriculum that are helping students succeed with that? And then asking critical questions. What would you change about that curriculum? What would make it better, or what have you done to make it better? So that's how we led off the day. We started with that activity.
Well, and that's so important, right? It's to be able to. And one thing I really love that you said is, we don't have enough time to sit down and reflect. Mm-hmm. Because we have students coming in, we have aides that are coming in, and of course sparking up conversations or whatever, and and that's all great. But we don't, as our mind is running so much in the day, we don't have time to actually sit down and even discuss with our co-teacher about curriculum, in connecting, and my co-teacher and I do a great job of connecting our math and our reading curriculums and our vocational and stuff like that. But how awesome would that be to have that opportunity at this symposium to meet with other, like-minded teachers or different-minded teachers to see what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
And bounce ideas, get new ones. Keep going. I'm sorry. That is so cool.
So the next session we had was something that we called Best Ideas Presentations. And this took a lot of pre-planning. We invited, way back in May, we invited local special ed teachers to make proposals for what they would like to contribute to this event. And so our local teachers put together 25-minute presentations, and we had 13 different proposals, and so we had 13 different presentations that day. Actually, a couple teachers had things come up, so there were 11 different presentations that day, 25-minute presentations talking about specific strategies, specific problems that they've learned how to address in their practice. And so each teacher was able to attend 2 of those different sessions.
Wow.
So that was a big part of the day. We also had a keynote speaker come and address the whole audience, and this was a really big hit. Her name is Judy Kilbride, and Judy received her bachelor's degree in special education in 1961.
Whoa.
And anyone who knows the history of special education knows that this was long before special education was a national mandate. This was long before Public Law 94-142. So she has been at the forefront of special education in our area.
Before Brown versus EDU, right? No.
Not quite.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
no,
was
never
in
mind.
the
Sorry.
50s, but
Yeah,
it was
50s.
before Public Law 94-142. So
That's awesome.
So she was able to reflect on her career as a special ed teacher and to share her vision for why she went into this. And she also talked specifically about the experience of having a grandson who has autism and how that has pushed her into a role of an advocate and a role of community organizer to raise awareness and raise ability all throughout the Kankakee area for people who are dealing with individuals with disabilities. So that was a wonderful part of the event. Actually, my personal favorite part of the event was the introduction that was given for Mrs. Kilbride.
Yeah.
One of our steering committee members stood in front of the audience and said that personally, she as a teacher was made a better teacher when Judy Kilbride showed up at an IEP meeting and advocated for one of her own students.
Wow.
So that was that introduction painted the picture of what the day was all about. It was all about idea sharing, passing on the vision to others around them, and in this case, it was passing on the vision to the next generation of teachers. All right, let's keep going through the agenda. We had, after the keynote address, we had 13 different community organizations who are involved with disabilities. We had them set up booths, sort of like what we have here at the ICEC conference. Had them set up booths to explain what's going on, what they're doing in their organizations. We had teachers who are kind of running small businesses with their students in order to teach the students life skills and soft skills. We had assistive technology companies. We had an art gallery. We had a theater company. So there's all of this activity regarding special education in our counties, and so we wanted to help teachers become aware of those, and also to spark conversations between these organizations and the teachers who are working with students day in and day out.
It just appears that Olivet is extremely focused on localizing, their opportunities and bringing the community in. Because when you don't bring the community in and you keep the community out, how are people with disabilities going to be able to adjust to the community? How are they going to be able to learn about the community? How's the community going to be able to learn about them?
That's right.
Really, really cool.
That's right. The next. Just a few more events in the agenda. We did an idea sharing idea where we basically posted 12 different questions around our big conference room, and we asked teachers to walk around from one station to the next and talk about their best ideas and also to hear the insights of others. And for that activity, we actually had our our university professors manning the 12 different stations, so they were able to facilitate those conversations. So that was a neat way for ideas to be shared, and also for the community to interact with the professors at Olivet. We had a research snapshot session where 3 different university-based people, students, professors, shared the research that they're conducting right now in special education to the teachers.
Yeah.
So most of the day was the teachers themselves sharing ideas. For this session, I shared a session on trauma-informed teaching. We had one of our doctoral candidates share about the best ways to involve parents at IEP meetings, and we actually had one of our undergraduate candidates talk about the teacher's role in creating a healthy classroom culture, just based on the research that she had read and synthesized. And so that was a really positive part of the event. And then we ended the day by awarding 2 local special ed teachers with a Teacher of the Year. So
wow.
we awarded 2 special educators of the year. One of them was an experienced special ed teacher with 5 or more years of experience, and the other one was a novice special ed teacher with 4 or fewer years of experience. And in order to award those, this is another thing that we planned way back in May. We invited the community to nominate special ed teachers
wow.
and to write about what made those special ed teachers so great. And so we were really proud that one of the teachers who won this nomination process is one that we cooperate with quite a bit. She works in Kankakee School District. Her name is Vicki Anderson. And the other one, the novice special ed teacher, is actually one of our graduates. And she works in the Bourbonnais School District. Sarah Matascella is her name. So we're really proud to have one of our own be the first winner of the Novice Special Educator of the Year award. And so this wrapped up the day. This was our agenda and the way we went about this.
See, this is what's really cool about ICEC is I get to get put in front of 2 really passionate professors and 2 passionate individuals who are really doing good, and understand the emphasis, or understand the importance on community involvement. I mean, it's so cliche. People be like, oh yeah, community, we're involved in the community. Like, no, it's like actually like you guys are going in and doing that forefront and bringing that community into what's really important, and that's educating. So, just in closing here, how can we learn more or sign up for the next? Now, you alluded to that there's a symposium that is coming up. If I were a teacher or something or wanted to go attend, what avenue would I have to go down?
Yeah, so we will be doing another symposium next year. At this point, we are inviting Kankakee and Iroquois County teachers, special ed teachers, to be a part of this. We do not have a website yet. That's something that's in the works. But for now, people can email me and get more information. And as we develop those sort of public documents, I can share those. But my email address is bstipp@olivet.edu.
Awesome, and I will include that below in the links there.
Okay.
And I will also email you once this gets produced.
Okay.
So awesome, fantastic. I really appreciate you guys stopping by to talk about the amazingness of being part of CEC, the benefits of it, the great things that Olivet's doing, and as well as the really cool symposium that you guys had. So thank you again. I have once again Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Stipp. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.